Am I the a-hole for hating on my mother-in-law for sneaking in my delivery room and taking photos of my hoo-ha? I, 20F, and my husband, 21M, had been married recently and gotten pregnant. We were living with my mother-in-law for the time being and were relatively happy. When I was close to the due date, I told my family and my husband's family that I didn't want anyone other than my husband in the delivery room. It was our first child and I just didn't feel comfortable with anyone else there. My mother-in-law was persistent though and kept asking me if she could just be in the delivery room with us. I told her no multiple times and I thought it was over and done with. I went into labor in March and was in a lot of pain. It was just me and my husband in the delivery room, I thought, and I was very happy with our new baby boy. We went back to live with my mother-in-law until we could afford a place of our own. A little while after we settled in with our baby, she gave me some pictures. They were pictures of me in labor, close-ups of my hoo-ha and me in excruciating pain. I was shocked. Apparently, my mother-in-law had snuck into the delivery room and taken pictures of me when I was in too much pain to notice. I could barely lift my head up and didn't see her. I was livid. I tried not to freak out at her and I spoke to my husband. He had seen her come in and didn't tell her to leave, even though I had explicitly told him to not let anyone in. He said he didn't think it was that big of a deal and it was just his mom. But I didn't even want my mom in there, so why would I want her in there? I was mad at both my mother-in-law and my husband, and I don't think what they did is okay. This was only the beginning of me hating my mother-in-law. A few weeks later, we were still living at her house, and I was trying to comfort my baby upstairs in mine and my husband's room. She heard the baby crying and came in and took my son out of my arms and said she could soothe him better. She carried him away and sat down in a chair. I went up to her and took my baby back, saying she had no right to take my baby out of my arms without asking, and I screamed at her. So am I the a-hole for hating her for everything she did in just my first year of knowing her? I am writing this story in place of my grandmother, and this happened 40 years ago.
Here are the top comments.
Your poor grandma, that is so violating. Her mother-in-law took advantage of her in a vulnerable moment and disrespected her wishes, and her husband, even worse. Literally nothing less attractive than a man that won't stand up to his overbearing, disrespectful mom, and her ripping the baby away. Absolutely not okay. I'm glad she stood up to her. Your grandma is not the a-hole, and I would hate my mother-in-law if she was this disrespectful and violating too.
Wow, I feel sorry for your grandma. I hope you never marry a mama's boy. They are the worst. If you do marry an awesome man, but his mother is a just no, make sure you let the delivery room staff know that no one is allowed in other than your husband. They will make sure that no family members step foot in the delivery room other than those you have approved.